Alright everyone, so this is going to be the first day, or at least the first part of this video where I build the computer. I'm actually waiting on some parts. The last video I did was basically doing an overview of the parts I got. A couple of things did change actually. Most notably the case. I actually have a different case. Apparently the one I was told that will work actually doesn't work. So I had to end up bringing that case back. And I got this one where it is actually compatible with the water cooler system. Besides that, I actually ordered different RAM or more RAM online. And actually for only $30 more than what I originally paid, I'm going to have 16 gigs of RAM. So, yeah. I don't have the RAM in yet. I think I'm supposed to get it in Saturday. So, yeah. But basically what I'm going to do is start putting some of the parts together and pretty much get to it. The hardest part, at least for me, because I personally never done something like this before, is actually install this water cooler, which I'm going to have to actually read the instructions. But yeah, hopefully when I get that on there, I'll start slapping the motherboard on it and all that good stuff. So I'll get right to it. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to show first before I started putting this stuff together. First thing I actually did when I got this case, because this case originally came with two fans in here that lights up blue, and I'm not a fan of cases that lights up like that. I think it looks kind of tacky. So I actually changed out all the fans in here to these Corsairs fans, and these are the quiet edition. So they're really good at moving air, but they're very quiet at 23 decibels per fan. So it's going to be a really quiet system when it's done, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. I want a very, very capable desktop computer, but also very quiet. So that's what I'm looking for. Also, these are all the drive bays. So these are the drive bays, and you know, they kind of just come out like that. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too big a fan of these. I think it looks kind of cheap. But it seems like it holds, so I guess that's okay. But yeah, the first thing I'm going to do, trying to figure out the best way to do this. I may do the motherboard first and then install the water cooler system. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. Put the motherboard in the processor and go from there. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do show you before it actually goes inside a case here is the actual motherboard, just for better lighting, things like that. If you're wondering what motherboard this is the Gigabyte 990 FXA-UD3. And the one thing I really liked about this was that it's actually pretty future-proof. So it's a AM3 Plus socket, has dual graphics card slots on this, so even if I have like very thick like double or triple wide cards on this thing, it'll actually accommodate for two of them. And another thing, speaking of graphics card, this particular motherboard, you have to rely on it because there's no onboard graphics on this. So yeah, I mean, even over here, there's no video out, so there's no HDMI, DVI, or any of that stuff. So if you get this motherboard, you need to have some kind of graphics card. You can't even stick an APU on this thing because where's the video out supposed to go? So yeah, I knew I was going to use a graphics card. Why get a motherboard with onboard graphics when I'll need it? I'd rather use that space for something else. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. I put the motherboard in. And we'll just get a close look right there. Now, a little interesting thing about this case was that this little part right here, there's a little peg that actually goes through that hole. So there's no actual screw that goes in there, which is kind of weird, if you ask me. But at the same time, I think they did that so that when you're trying to lay the motherboard on, it kind of catches that and it keeps everything straight while you screw everything in, so you don't accidentally damage the board, which I guess is kind of smart. You know, I can understand why they did that. But let me turn it over here. And these are the actual ports I have on the motherboard. One thing you're not going to see is any type of HDMI, DVI, VGA ports or anything like that, because like I said before, there's no onboard graphics chips on it. So you have to use a graphics card to get video out of this thing. But no big deal. I have a graphics card I'm going to install, so that's no big deal. I'd rather use the real estate for all these extra ports. So you got all these USB ports here, FireWire, SATA ports, all that good stuff. Though there is optical audio out, which is kind of nice. But yeah, that's where we're at here. So, you know, with my old rig, I had like extra cards for USB. I don't think I'm going to need that for this because all the ports I need is actually all right there, which is pretty sweet. Now this part here I think is probably one of the more dangerous ones to do, and that is installing the processor. Why? Well, see that little square right there? There's a lot of those little itty bitty holes, and if you do it wrong, yeah, you can kind of cause problems there. So you have to do it right, and you can't force it in, you essentially just drop it in. So the biggest tip I can tell you is drop it in there, don't force it in. If it doesn't look like it, if it doesn't seem like it doesn't want to go in, just stop, take it out, and hopefully you didn't damage any of the pins. So I'm going to do that now, after this. Okay, I'm back again. Wow, this is the first time I installed one of these water cooler systems. This is one of these concealed versions, and holy crap, maybe because it was just this particular model, but damn was this a pain in the ass. So, and yes, I did double check just to make sure that the fans were going the right direction before I actually fully put this in place, because holy crap, this thing was a pain in the ass. Alright, so in short, I read the manual, of course, just to make sure I was doing this correctly. And you want the fans to be as intakes, so essentially sucking air in through the radiator inside the case, and then this fan blows it out. So that's yeah, that's how they want it. Yeah. Whew. What else? So now I'm actually going to grab the parts I need, attach it on there, then put it in here, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so after a little while getting the heatsink on there, and then the actual pump assembly on top of the CPU, it's all on there. And I have no idea how well the camera's going to pick it up, but there is a little power cable that comes out of the pump, and there's a plug right next to the CPU for the fan, but you can also use that for the motor to run this pump. So that's all on there now, and I was getting the drives and everything all in there. So that's how the front looks. And I decided to, why not, put the Blu-ray drive on the top, just to change it up a little. And yes, I actually did put screws on both sides. And because you got these stupid little clips here that you can't really do anything about, you know, I just make sure they're pushed in their holes there. And I put an extra screw on the other side just for stability's sake. And yeah. Did I put one for the other side? Okay, I did. Okay. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the hard parts are done. Really, the only thing left to do, honestly, is besides putting the power supply, is really just to run the cables and put the graphics card in. So I think I'll do that now. Okay, so I'm going to call it a night and continue on another day. And I need to clean up all this mess here. Oh shit, look at all this. So I got the bulk of the stuff in here, and I decided to wire some of the stuff up on here. So this is where I'm at. So far this is coming out pretty clean here, I have to say. And I do like how this motherboard right there, how it has those SATA cables facing on the side of the motherboard, instead like sticking straight up. So it's just that much cleaner. One thing I will say, I'm not a big fan of these types of USB 3.0 cables that goes to the motherboard. The connection seems a bit on the dodgy side for me. It doesn't have like a satisfying click or anything. You kind of just push it in there and just essentially kind of hope it just stays there, which I'm not a big fan of. I really wish, maybe there's a reason why they designed the cable this way, but I really wish it was more this design where the cables are like nice and flexible. This is like really stiff, and I'm not a big fan of that. But I'm sure there's a reason why. Of course, on the other side, by the way, this is how the back is looking so far. But of course, on this side, it's still kind of a mess. But once I tidy all the cables up, it's going to be all covered. But yeah, so far so good. So anyway, I'll call it a night and continue on another day. Okay, so this is the next morning now, and I'm now going to start running the cabling for the power supply. Because at this point, there's really not much else to do besides run the power cable, because all the actual cabling for the drives, and all that stuff is pretty much ran, and they just need power at this point. I am going to have to run to the store and grab some special extension cables, because some of the cables are a little bit on the short side. So that's something I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to have to get a little extension cable for the two fans for the water cooler. So that way they run in the back, and then the one little cable just goes straight right there. But for now, I'm going to open that box there and start installing the power supply. Now this is a modular system, so I only need the cables of what I need. So that's pretty sweet there. Anyway, I'll just get that installed. Okay, so I ran most of the cables. Obviously, okay, so I ran most of the cabling in this computer here. Now I do need to run to the store and buy some extension slash splitter cables, mostly for the fans. But if you're wondering, this is the power supply I got. This is a Corsair RM750. It's a 750 watt modular power supply. And there was a little sticker in the back and basically said that when it's running at low or optimal load, the fan does not spin. So it only spins when it's at full load. So that's actually kind of a nice feature where you don't really have to worry about the noise too much for normal operations. So a lot of the time, you know, if I'm just browsing the web or just doing basic stuff, this thing is not going to make noise, which is kind of the idea. I want this to be a very, very capable computer, but at the same time very quiet. That's why I changed all the fans out to the special quiet versions of the fans. So I changed all three of them in there, and on the door it's going to have two more fans on it to keep it nice and cool. So basically the way the airflow is going to work, air is going to suck in from the front, this fan blows it out, on top sucks in, blows out. So that's kind of the idea. I'm also going to have the fans on the door where it's going to pull air out also, because obviously this here is going to generate heat or pull quite a bit of heat because of the processor. So that's why I want to have the fans on the doors too, and then for that I will just run the cabling. I know there's two spots here. There's one right there. There's another one there. The one up there is for the pump. And I could have sworn there was one down here somewhere. Oh, right there. I think. Yeah, system fan. So those fans probably will go right there. So yeah. But so far this is looking very clean. Now obviously I can't say for the other side, so if I actually pan over, it actually looks like a complete mess right now. But I'll get it cleaned up. Holy crap, look at that. Yeah, that's kind of a mess right there, but again, it's not completely done yet. But once I get everything in order, actually I tend to wait at the very end to manage the cables at the very end. Once I run all the cables how I want it, you know, then I will go back and tweak everything up and make it all look nice and pretty back here too. So I already zip tied one of the cables here, and I just need to cut those off. But yeah, you know, apart from cleaning up the cabling, putting the graphics card on, and then put the RAM in there, this is actually almost done. So the hard part is actually pretty much done. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. I put most of the components in. I'm actually still waiting on the RAM in the mail. Just a quick side note on the last video. I said I was going to use 8 gigs. I'm going to go 16 gigs, mainly because I found the exact same RAM online for only $30 more than what I actually paid for. It's like, okay, let me just do it this way. And that's why I'm doing 16 gigs, so it's for not that much more. I'm getting 16 gigs instead of just 8. So I'm supposed to get that in today, and I'll slap that on there. Got the graphics card in there. I have to say, this is one of the cleanest builds I ever did. I'm actually quite surprised how clean this is. So I'm actually kind of proud about that. Besides that, I'm getting 2 more fans because on the side here, or the side panel, there's a place to put 2 fans. So I'm going to run those 2 straight to that plug right there. And that's pretty much it. Besides slapping the RAM on there, attaching a few cables in the back for the other fans, this is pretty much done. You know, if I pan out, you can actually pretty much see how it looks. And of course, because this card is actually set up to run SLI. Of course, that's the NVIDIA, but the AMD version is Crossfire. So it is actually able to do both, which is pretty sweet. And I might do that later on. I'm not entirely sure yet. I could just grab another card if I want. Actually, if I do find another card, the exact same card, for about the same price, I actually might do that, because the power supply will be able to handle it, and the cabling is already in place if I actually do want to run 2 cards. So that's pretty sweet if you ask me. Besides that, that's almost done. The only thing I really have to do at this point, after I slap everything on, is install Windows. And I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and put Windows 8 on this machine, mainly because it's actually not a bad price for it right now, and plus I'll still get the free upgrade for Windows 10 when that comes out. So, and yeah, some of you might say, it's like, why not just use the preview build for 10? Well, it's an unfinished product, and I don't want to use unfinished versions of operating systems. So that's why. You know, it's not finalized. The drivers might not be set for Windows 10. You know, just various different reasons why. I'd rather put a stable version of 8 than an unstable version of 10. Because, I mean, let's just face it, I'm also using this for production work. So yeah, that's a couple of reasons why. The only thing I really have to run to the store for is to get some cables for these 2 fans plugs here. Run those out there and then connect the cables to it. So I need to get like some black extension cables, because I don't want to have too many multicolors. I mean, the only multicolored really is the red. Everything else is all black, well, except that little part right there, but that's fine. And that's pretty much it. But this is pretty fucking clean, I have to say. I'm actually quite impressed with myself. And for the most part, I did get most of the cabling organized. Oh shit, I actually completely forgot. I need to get a extension cable for this, for the card reader. But yeah, just get some extension cables and then start connecting these together. What else? And that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. Most of the cabling is already wired up, pretty much done. This one here is just going to stay like that. I kind of wish there's a place to kind of like tie this down so it doesn't just kind of just flap around, to be honest with you. Oh well, that's just gonna have to do. But all this will be covered. You can't even see it anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Just to be clean enough so that everything stays in place. So in case, because another thing, this case I have is actually designed to be carried around. That's why it has handles on the top. Is actually designed to carry the case around, the actual computer. So whenever in the future, that I will never do is go to LAN parties and bring this computer along to for LAN parties, which that will never happen with me. I'll have the option to do that. Of course, I'm kind of joking about that, but at least with this kind of case, it actually does have the option. So yeah, so far the way this is going to be set up here is the fans in the front and the top sucks air in, the fan on the side here, and the two fans that's going to be on the side panel here is going to suck the air out. And this power supply is actually designed, when it's at full load is when the fan kicks in. Other than that, the fan doesn't move. So just say like on a normal day that I'm just browsing the web, watching YouTube videos, things like that, that fan won't spin. So yeah, all the fans I have is all rated for being silent. And the only fans I'm going to have are the actual case fans. And that's pretty much it. Which is going to be sweet. I actually can't wait to turn this thing on and hear how quiet this thing is. It's pretty crazy. Okay everyone, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on this whole PC build. It looks like it's complete, but it's actually not. I mean, for the most part, it's all put together, but I'm waiting on for a couple of parts to connect some of the fans together, because the way I'm wiring this up, I need some extra cables to make them longer so I'm able to connect them properly. So that's taking a little longer than normal, and of course this is the mess I'm leaving behind here. Let's see here. Some of the things I will say though is obviously I do have a new monitor. This is a Dell 24-inch. I think the milliseconds on this like 4 or 5. It's not as quick as or responsive, but I'll be honest with you, this build is more designed for production work and gaming second. And I'll be honest with you, Dell makes some of the better monitors out there. So if you're looking for really good monitors for good prices, look at the Dells. But yeah, basically what I've been doing was most likely just a good opportunity to basically clean out the whole desk. So, stuff that I haven't really been using. It's like, okay, I don't really like a USB hub I had sitting there. I don't need it anymore because this thing has so many USB ports in the back, and it's also designed for it to have power even when the computer's off. So there's always some kind of power running through them. Though I might turn that off. Anyway. Alright everyone, I just want to give you guys a quick update on this computer build here. Now you're going to notice I've been building it and sitting right there. Now I do have a separate video coming soon that is going to be the actual building of this computer. But for now, this is just a quick overview. And yeah. One thing I will say is I did, from the first part of the series of videos, is this a monitor. This is a Dell 24-inch model number S2440L. This is a 24-inch monitor. It's an LED version, 1080p. Yeah, I know I could have gone 4K, but I'll be honest with you. I think right now trying to go 4K in any capacity is not really a good time, mainly because at least later this year 4K will get standardized, but 4K monitors, they're not exactly cheap. I got this for like 150 bucks. I mean, look how it's crazy. 24-inch for 150, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, look at that. Look at the gloss. And look at this. Ooh. Alright, everyone. Just want to give you guys a quick update. First of all, yes, even though the computer it's not completed yet, it's almost done. But I do have a separate video that I will post that goes into the details of building this computer here. It's not going to be like 2 hours long. It's just going to be essentially like highlights on the build. So expect that coming soon. But obviously that's going to come after I get the computer all set up and all that. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to use the laptop to edit videos. No, I'm not going to do that. But for now, it's just sitting there. Actually, this room's a fucking mess. I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to get this done. So that way, actually there's some stuff I bought that has mail-in rebates. I have to go through them. And I think there's like 4 different rebates I have to fill out. So yeah. What else? So once I get all that done, filled out, sent out, all of this stuff will go in, well, almost all of it will go in the trash. The stuff with the power supply, I'm obviously keeping that because I don't want to trash those plugs because they go with the power supply. It's a modular system, yes. But I actually did get a decent power supply this time. It's a 750 watt power supply. The old one I have is the one sitting in there is only 500. It's a good power supply, but it's only 500. So I wanted to get a beefier one because this computer is actually set up for dual graphics cards. So if I do want to get a second one, the same one I have, I could theoretically do that if I want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet, but it wouldn't be that much more money if I do decide to do that. But I do have to do a little research because I know there are some games out there that just does not like computers with 2 graphics cards in them. So yeah, I'm gonna wait on it first. Let me know down in the comments if it is actually worth doing that, or if there's any issues when you do the crossfires or the SLI setups. But yeah. So yeah, I can't wait until all this crap gets thrown out. But one thing I want to talk about first is the monitor I got. Yeah, I decided to get a new monitor. Well, you obviously know I got a new monitor from that video, but I wasn't planning on getting a new monitor. I decided to because, like, you know what? I'm looking at this as a fresh start, and honestly, the Samsung monitor I have, is a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, and it was not even 1080p, so it wasn't even full HD, and it was only a 22 inch. So I figured it's like, you know what? Let me go get a new one. So I got a Dell. It's a 24 inch, full 1080p, and this thing is glossy. So yeah, you can actually see the gloss on there. And it's actually a nice looking monitor, I'm not going to lie. It's actually really nice looking. I was kind of worried, about this. It's kind of a weird mounting system, to be honest with you. But obviously the desk might move, but I think it will be fine. Okay, this is actually all capacitive right there. Let's see. Oh, I also decided to get rid of some unnecessary stuff here. And I'll be honest with you, like the USB hub that was normally sitting there, I got rid of it mainly because the extra USB ports I needed, I was using it for that. But because this computer now has so many USB ports in the back, I'm not lying. So just to give you guys an idea, look at all this, and keep in mind this motherboard does not have a graphics chip on it. So there's no video out on the motherboard, which I purposely done it this way. Some of you might disagree on this, but I did it this way because this gives me all these extra ports on here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got 10 USB ports. It actually has 2 FireWires, a eSATA port back there too. There is optical out on this, so I'll give it that. But yeah, I mean, I don't need a video out on this because I do have a graphics card on here. So why have it? Now I know there are some cases where it's like, yeah, I mean, depending on the card you get, it'll be compatible. You can have a setup where it actually use both, so you get slightly better performance. But if I want to do that, I'd rather do the Crossfire setup and just get 2 graphics cards, stick the cables together, and I have a Crossfire. Or for NVIDIA people, the SLI. So this computer is actually capable of doing that now. Now, just to give you guys the specs on this computer, this is a full AMD rig. So AMD processor, AMD graphics. So basically it's a AMD FX Black Series 8-core unlocked edition running at 3.2 gigahertz stock, though it is set up to overclock. So I'll be able to go in and make it a little faster, buy a cheaper processor, bump up the speed, and get some good performance out of it. Now this does have water cooling. It's one of those concealed versions, so there's no piping on this thing, even though this case does have the option to do that. But I have the concealed version because that's actually getting a lot more popular because of the fact that it's all concealed. It's really maintenance free. The only thing you really have to do every once in a while, really, but it's just like with any other computer, you want to clean the thing. So take some compressed air, blow out all the dust, just normal stuff. But yeah, this is running on a AMD FX processor Black Edition 8-core processor, and I did end up doing 16 gigs of RAM in this thing. So it has 16 gigs of DDR3 as the 1600 versions, and the graphics card is an R9, Radeon R9 270. It's the overclocked edition. Has 2 gigs of GDDR5 on it, and the card is actually set up for Crossfire. So I could, and the card isn't really that much, to be honest with you. But keep in mind, this is production computer first, then gaming. So I tend to skimp on the graphics card, mainly because I don't really game too much on the PC, even though some of you might be thinking like, so why the hell you got water cooling and all that? The only reason why I got it was really because I wanted to. I never dealt with one before, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get that set up on here. I'm not going to lie. It actually took me almost 2 hours to get this thing mounted because it just, you know, you got these special long screws that has to go, you know, not only through the case, but through the fan and then through the radiator. And, you know, trying to sandwich all that stuff together is kind of a pain in the ass. But once I got everything connected, you know, put the pump contact part to the processor, it was pretty much easy from there. And of course, this case is a Corsair Vengeance C70, which is right there if you're curious. And I have a Corsair power supply, 750 watts. It's a modular design, so I can use the cables I need and not have extra cables just sitting there. The rest of the cables inside the box that came with it. And I'm really just waiting on 2 more fans because I want to add 2 more fans to the side panel to suck the air out, because right now the top and the front are sucking air in, and the only fan right now in this setup that's sucking air out is the one fan back here, which yeah, that's not a good combination, to be honest with you, because you got all this hot air, or all this air coming in, and it's just kind of sitting there, and so there's more air blowing in than blowing out, if that makes any sense, even though there's vents on the bottom. But I do plan on getting 2 more fans, attach it there, plop it onto the, or plug into the motherboard. Pretty much good to go. Now the fans, well, apart from the fans that came with the water cooling system, I actually changed it out. The case did originally come with fans, but I took them out and I got these really quiet ones that each fan only runs at 23 decibels max. So even at the highest fan speed, it's still going to be fairly quiet. Now, how quiet the entire system is going to be, that's going to be another question. But I knew that this computer was going to have more fans, and that was part of the reason why I wanted to get the absolute quiet, or the least sounding fans I could find. So that way when I turn it on, even at full load, it's still fairly quiet. Even the power supply has a fan on it, but it only kicks on when it's at load. So from like everyday use, so like browsing the web, things like that, or watching YouTube videos, the power supply, the fan stays off because it just doesn't generate enough heat for the fan to kick on. But of course, you know, if I do like high-end gaming on the thing and, you know, it starts overheating, that's when the fan kicks in. So, you know, for, you know, gaming sessions, you know what, the computer can get a little louder if it wants to, because, well, I would be here, you know, playing it. God, that screen is glossy. That's actually much glossier than I would like it. See, like that kind of screen there, that is the kind I like. It's kind of a matte finish with a gloss on top, but this is just pure gloss. This is like a freaking mirror. Alright everyone, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on this computer build. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, my room's a fucking wreck right now. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not gonna bullshit it. It's a wreck, I know. I've just been slammed at work, and yeah. So that's basically what's going on. So, and I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit of a struggle trying to get this computer together because, again, if I dedicated an entire day to build this thing, I would have Windows up and running. It would be sitting right here, and I would be doing computer stuff on it. But this is going to take me a lot longer, mainly because I'm doing this in between work and sleep. And of course it doesn't help that because I'm a dumbass sometimes, I forgot to pick up some parts. So that's really what I'm doing right now. This computer is essentially 98% done. The only two major things I'm waiting on is the two fans for the sides here and just some connecting cables to connect the fans up. That's it. So besides that, this computer is pretty much done. The only last step I have to do is just install Windows. And yes, I got Windows 8.1. Now some of you might be thinking like, well, later this year, Microsoft's going to release Windows 10. That's true. And yes, I could have just gone ahead and used a preview build. But I'm not a big fan of using unfinished products, especially when it comes to the operating system. So I went ahead, got Windows 8.1. It was actually on sale in the store, and it was actually a pretty good price. So, and of course, when Windows 10 comes out, I'll have the option to upgrade for free because for the first year, people that are on Windows 7 and Windows 8 will get free upgrades to Windows 10. So that's why I decided just go ahead and get Windows 8. And I'll be honest with you, I've been starting to use more and more of Windows 8.1. And it is not really that bad. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that whole full screen start menu type of thing. But in terms of day-to-day functionality, it's fine. So yeah. Excuse the mess there. But I did actually take the monitor out, and it's sitting right here. So you're going to notice this screen is really, really glossy. This is actually a 24-inch 1080p LED monitor. Now some of you might be thinking, like, why didn't you go 4K? Because, why? Especially for a screen this size. Now I know some people are going to, yes, I know 4K monitors do look better, but they're expensive. And a lot of the first generation 4K monitors, I'll be honest with you, they're not worth the price. I'd rather spend that same amount of money on a really, really high-end 1080p monitor that's going to be really responsive, great colors, and all that good stuff than a first generation 4K monitor. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people that my eyes, that especially for only for a 24-inch. And keep in mind, this monitor and my TV, they're both 1080p, same amount of pixels, but this is in a smaller form, so the pixels are going to be smaller anyway. So this screen will look better than that one, just because it's smaller. So yeah, and yes, it is a Dell. I am a fan of Dell monitors. I've always liked them. They're really good if you are more into the production types of work. So I've always viewed this computer build as a production machine first, gaming second. So when I saw this monitor, it's like, oh look, it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a really good production monitor, but it's a pretty good it's a decent monitor for gaming. So it's a 24-inch LED monitor, and it actually looks pretty nice too. Really clean looking, and yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. For the most part, everything is pretty much all set up, ready to go. The HDMI cable is all sitting there. The audio cable for the Bose speakers is sitting right there. The USB cable not only for the blue microphone, but a USB cable for the a POG. Oh, the other USB cables for that webcam. I was going to change it, but it's like, why? I don't really need to. This one's still fine, and so the biggest thing I'm really looking forward to now with this build, when it's all said and done, all ready to go, is that I will actually be able to do a lot more of that thing than I was able to do before. So one of the things I really wanted to do was, you know, have it set up for like picture-in-picture style gameplay of, you know, random games. Use the webcam to capture my face while I'm playing the games, and I'll actually be able to do that now. So I'm really looking forward to that, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll pretty much end it here, but one thing I am looking forward to now is once that thing gets up and running, once I get all the programs on there, I'll finally have Steam back on my channel. I do have a Steam account. I haven't used it in a while, to be honest with you, just because that computer wasn't really cutting it anymore. And I'll be honest with you, even like a 10-minute video, that thing was really taking about 30-45 minutes to render the video. For a video under 10 minutes. So yeah, it was a long process. This one should be stupidly quick. 8 cores, 16 gigs of RAM, a pretty decent modern graphics card. It's not like a high-end type of thing. I mean, it's an R9, but it's 270 with 2 gigs of GDDR5 memory on it. But it is set up for Crossfire, so I could theoretically buy another card exactly, slap it on there, put the cable on, and essentially have double the graphic capabilities out of it. I don't know if I'll do that. Right now it's just one, but it is actually set up out of the box now to accept another card if I want to. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. See how it goes. If I do find a card online that's actually pretty cheap, I'll probably go ahead and do it and see how that goes. But for now, you know, after this video, I will probably, you know, once I get the actual computer up and running, I'll splice together the actual build of the computer. Put that up there because I know people do like watching that. And then I will start doing some benchmarks on this thing just to see where I'm at. So yeah, hopefully that kind of works out. And that's pretty much it. Like always, have a good one. Alright, so I'm at the last stages of this build here, and you know, just a testing. Oh, actually, let me back up a little. If you notice in the video where I was talking about the Sapphire card that I got, when I put that in, it was actually defective. There was actually graphical errors and things like that. So just to test things out, I actually slapped my old graphics card in here just to test it out, and it was working fine. So the graphics card was actually bad. So now that we determined that the card was bad, the card I'm actually going to be using in this rig is this big guy right here. This is a Radeon R9 290X, which in the R9 line of cards is the top of the line. So let's take this guy out. We don't need this one now. By the way, this card, if you're wondering what this one is, this is Asus built version, but this is the HD 7770. Has 2 gigs of GDDR5 memory on it. So I mean, it's not really a slouch, but the one I'm putting is just a more modern card for the newer PC games. So we'll take this guy here, and we'll just go ahead and take this plastic off. And we'll go ahead and slap this guy on. By the way, if you notice the theme inside this case, which is black and red, which was purposely done. That is this is a big ass card, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm gonna have to adjust the length of the cabling in here just to make it slightly longer. But yeah. So we'll go ahead and screw these things on. And one thing I will add though, I was transferring some parts over. So what ended up happening was I was going to reuse more parts than I originally thought, or I was using less parts than I originally had planned. So obviously I have a upgraded power supply, so this is 750 watts, so I'm definitely future-proofing this time around. One thing I will give you guys a tip is if you're building your own rig and you plan on using or trying to recycle some parts, future-proof it. So get a case where it is able to handle like the newer stuff in the future. Large enough case for larger cards. And let me make sure. Okay, now that's actually snapped in there. Whoops. So, and also, let me grab this guy over here. So this one here I'm not going to be using, mainly because this doesn't work anymore. When I was trying to install Windows 8.1, this would not read it. So and it made a lot of high-pitched noises. So something has died in here. So this is going to get chucked in the trash. So I'm using the DVD drive, DVD burner, LightScribe drive that I've used. So yeah. Besides that, just need to actually. Am I able to do this? No. No, I'm gonna have to pull the cabling out slightly on the other side. So yeah, that's almost pretty much it. The only thing I really have left to do is I'm gonna add 2 fans on the side here, so that way it blows the air out. Because the way this is set up is there's 2 fans in the front, blows air in. If you notice this radiator, which is water cooled for the 8-core AMD processor. Yeah, I could have gone a fan version, but I never used this type of system before, and I wanted to. That's really all it was. Plus, I don't have to worry about this thing overheating because it's water cooled. So, air blows here, air blows through here, and as of right now, this only one fan blows all the hot air out. But you know, I'm going to have two more fans here, and they're all upgraded fans. So the fans that originally came with the case, chuck those in the trash. Put these quiet versions, and this thing is super quiet. I'm actually quite surprised how quiet this thing is. So what I'm going to do now is open the other side, lengthen this cable out slightly so that way I'm able to plug in here and put it back together, and pretty much ready to go, you know, except for those two fans. But I don't have to worry about the other side after this anymore, so that's pretty sweet. So yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, so I plugged the card in, and apparently it does take both of these plugs here, so I just readjusted it, zip tied this together just to make it look neat. And I have to say, this is one of the cleanest builds I ever did. It's pretty sweet if you ask me. So that's pretty sweet right there. And I do have to say though, it is kind of a shame that this face is on the bottom. I mean, I understand why they do it that way, but it's like, oh man, I kind of want to see this side. I don't want to see the circuit board. I want to see the, you know, this side here, but oh well. But yeah, that's it's pretty much done now. I mean, the only thing I really have left to do is wait on those fans to come in, wire those up, and be done with. So it's going to have two fans in here, and that's pretty much it. This build is pretty much done. Of course, I'll take this plastic off later on, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll pan around this computer and give you guys the final view. And if I just pull back here, this is a pretty nice feature where it has these little filters, washable filters, which kind of makes sense to have them. So you know, helps with the dust. And I do kind of wish they had the option on the top, because it does suck air in, so it would be kind of nice to have filters on the top. That would be my only complaint, but honestly, this is a really nice case. I actually do like how the design looks. Very good cable management, and I do like the idea of these clips on the top. Whoops. I do like the idea of these clips on the top, where if I do need to get in here for something, I can just flip these open. And it's all metal. You know, no cheap plastic stuff. The only plastic is obviously going to be this plastic window with this plastic frame around it. And that's pretty much it. Even like the front panel is all metal. You know, this is all metal, which is pretty nice. So that's pretty much it. Like always, have a good one. And later on, I will make some videos demonstrating the performance out of this. So I'll do some testing on this when I do get a chance, and we'll pretty much go from there. But one of my plans with this is to not only have better capabilities of doing the videos I want, but also get back into the PC gaming, because quite honestly, I am disappointed with the PS4 and Xbox One in that they're both kind of the same. A lot of the games are coming out for those consoles, also coming out for the PC. So honestly, at this point, why have those two consoles when I could have just stuck to my guns originally and just basically say gaming PC, Wii U. But you live and learn. At least I have all the consoles. You know, if any exclusives comes out for those consoles, I'll pretty much be set. And that's pretty much it. So like always, have a good one. Okay, so this is getting towards the end now. I got these, got the replacement fans I needed. These are actually the quiet editions of these Corsairs. But of course, even though I changed the ring, they're actually going to actually face inward because the airflow goes in this direction here, and I want the side panel door to blow air out, since I already have the front and the top blowing in and one little fan in the back. So I kind of want these fans here to suck the hot air out. So you know, it's going to go in these smaller holes here. They already have rubber grommets in them, and this has all rubber grommets in here too. So when I screw it in, it's going to hold, but it's all rubberized, so it's going to reduce the vibration and in turn less noise. Now here's a little tip. See what I did here? I basically took a screwdriver, wrapped the cord around tightly, and this has this accordion look to it, and that way when I have the cable connected, it's going to not be all over the place. So that's kind of the whole idea here. And of course I have a splitter cable that I'm going to use, and I'm going to run that along the bottom and then have it connect on here. So at least that's the idea. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe I should have this more in the middle. I don't know. Maybe I should have. I'll figure it out. Alright, so yeah, excuse the mess. But by the way, I was trying to use some of the cables, you know, from the old build, so that's why there's some stuff there too. But apart from one cable I'm missing, which is really just a 3-pin splitter cable. I actually want to get a black one just to make it look better. But apart from that, by the way, the cable is for the 2 fans there. But apart from that, this computer is done. And yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I did some just very quick benchmarks. I'm going to do a separate video about that. But for the most part, this thing is a freaking monster. You know, for the price range I got it for. Now, just to let you guys know, probably the most pain in the ass part about this build here was the graphics card, and that was because when I originally got the graphics card, it was defective. It was having artifacts issues on the screen, so I took it back. Then I decided, okay, let me get the same series, but do Crossfire. Then I decided not to do the Crossfire because some games have issues when you do 2 graphics cards. So I returned those, and basically what I spent on 2 graphics card, I basically used the money towards buying one powerful graphics card, which I ended up using which is actually the box is right there. This is a Radeon R9 290X, 4 gigabytes of GDDR5, which is actually built by Diamond. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. So those are the 2 fans there. Put that to the side. And this is how it looks inside. And I have to say, this is pretty much... Actually, let me move it that way. I have to say, this is the cleanest build I ever did for any computer, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I know it's going to sound really dumb, but the reason why like cable management is half the battle, honestly, is because there's almost no obstruction in terms of airflow. So when the fan blows through here. It's got all this nice open space. You got the fan back here, of course. You got this giant ass R9290X card, which I don't know how well you can see it, but I did do a unboxing video on this channel. And what's really nice about this power supply is that, yes, there is a fan, but that fan is only there when the power supply is under load. So if for some reason it overheats, the fan kicks in to get rid of the heat. But so far, even when I was benchmarking, that fan was not turning on at all. So yeah, that's, and I'll be honest with you, this is a pretty quiet machine. And given that the only time it starts getting loud is because of the graphics card, is when I'm doing the benchmarking, or if I'm going to be doing high-end gaming on it. That's where it comes in. But for the most part, some of the more popular benchmarks, I can't remember the name, but it's the one where you can like turn stuff up really high, and it's a big stress test for the computer. Even on everything on max, on a 1080p resolution screen for one monitor, I was getting on average about 50 frames, and that's on everything on maximum. And for the most part, a lot of the games out there, this will run perfectly fine. This computer will blow smokes on any of those three consoles there out of the water. Hell, even combined. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this. And yeah. And if you wonder how the back looks, so yeah, that's why even with this motherboard I picked out, I purposely bought it because I didn't want a graphics chip on it. I could care less about having HDMI or DVR or VGA ports on the back of the motherboard, because, well, that's what the graphics card is for. And yes, I know there are certain things that, or certain technologies that you can combine the onboard graphics with the GPU to do the Crossfire SLI-esque type of settings, but I'll be honest with you, unless there are some games that actually do take advantage of that kind of stuff, as of right now, I'm just doing the one card. And yes, later on, if I want to beef up the computer, I could actually always buy another card like this. Hell, maybe even down the road, slap another one on. Maybe in the next couple years, maybe someone's trying to sell one used for cheap, I'll probably snag one, pop it on there, and be ready to go, because I do have an extra port right here for another graphics card. And what's nice about this particular card is that it's designed so you don't have to run the cable, but it actually goes through the PCI Express. So that's pretty sweet, if you ask me. Anyway, that's it. Like always, have a good one.